All right. Today I am really excited to show you what I consider an actual new bourbon. So it's not like taking somebody else's bourbon and doing something to it or whatever, marketing. It's none of that. It's an actual new bourbon, which gets me. This is from McCormick's in Western Missouri. So like McCormick's, you probably don't know that name. But they've got they're sort of like a mini Luxco. They've got a lot of different brands and different categories they sell. They have like Broker's Gin and Tarantula, Tequila Rose, a lot of kind of weird random brands out there. But they've been in business for a long, long time. Sometimes you'll see like ceramic bourbon figures and it'll have like a McCormick's label on it. And they've just been in business for a long time. And they have finally, after many years and a lot of money and a lot of investment, they've come out with their first straight bourbon whiskey, which is a 6-year bottled in bond, and it is 100% Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. So in addition to meeting all the federal guidelines, in 2019, it was Missouri House Bill 266. They passed it. They required additional guidelines to be met to be called a Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. So you have to meet all the federal guidelines, but you also have to be mashed, aged, distilled, 100% in Missouri. You actually have to be made with Missouri corn, and the real kicker, which really doesn't exist anywhere else, you have to be aged in Missouri oak. So soup to nuts, this is a real 100% Missouri product. So in terms of just sort of provenance, terroir, flavor, whatever you want to call it, this is a Missouri bourbon. So is it any different than Kentucky bourbon or Indiana bourbon or whatever? Because of those things, the differences are probably relatively subtle. It's like when the Japanese went to Scotland for the first time and sort of saw the process of making Scotch whiskey, and then took that to Japan and essentially just kind of copied exactly what they were doing, and they make fantastic whiskey. And maybe the differences over time have gotten more subtle, or I guess maybe more pronounced over time. But either way, it's Missouri oak, Missouri corn, aged, distilled, everything in Missouri. And it's McCormick's, it's DSP MO number 5, and it's the Ben Holladay, named after kind of one of the founders of the business that eventually became McCormick's. So it's a cool story. It's a real story. It's a real place. It's a real process, which I'm really into, just from a bourbon kind of nerd perspective. And that's why I'm really excited. I'm also excited because I've already tasted it, that it's delicious. So I'm really looking for hallmarks of differences between like maybe this and a Kentucky bourbon. And the first thing right off the bat that I can just smell is that there's kind of a bready, yeasty sweetness to it. It's light, it's easy. I never mean light as anything but a compliment, because that light, nuanced flavor is something that I always enjoy and look for that as a part of the complexity of it. Yeah, really nice lifted floral note, that clean kind of inviting yeasty note, like walking into like a fresh donut shop first thing in the morning, and you kind of get hit with the sweetness and the yeast and the bread and the powder, and it's just sort of warm and inviting. That's what I get on the nose here. All right, let's take a sip. I get graham cracker. I get kind of a soda flavor. There's sort of a tree nut, walnut thing going on. There's red fruit. There's nice spice. There's a touch of like a banana note. There is that breadiness and there is that yeastiness, but I get that more on the nose. It's great. It's got a great age profile. So there's some of that oak spice built in. Obviously, they can pass a law that it's required to use Missouri oak because Missouri makes some of the best oak in the world. I mean, most of the super premium Scotch whiskey distilleries, they're buying it, they're buying it in Missouri, well drained, side of the hill, Missouri oak. They know it's going to go into a bourbon, and then they're still going to own it when it comes to Scotland. So Missouri oak is a real serious thing. Yeah, love the nose here. Really nice lifted floral note to go with that yeast note. Let's take another sip. It's fantastic. There I get the cinnamon spice on that one. I get the baking spice a little bit more on that second sip. Light, easy, 100 proof, great proof. Yeah, I can't say enough about this. I think this is one that is definitely worth going out, seeking out. A little bit of bourbon history that's kind of out there now. You know, will Missouri develop into a full-blown bourbon state? It's hard to say. I mean, McCormick's is a bigger company than just a craft distillery, even though that's what they're doing there. They're making mature bourbon. They're doing it the right way. They have the resources to do that. So, you know, will others follow along? Who knows? You know, time will tell. But this is a really great start. And the fact that a bigger company with a lot of resources can actually go out and do this and do it the right way, I think that shows that maybe it's not just sort of flash in the pan or wishful thinking, that they actually could do something different and advance Missouri bourbon as something that other people can get on board with and really try to enjoy. Again, is it, you know, if somebody puts it in front of me and told me it was Kentucky bourbon, I would not argue. I would not have a discernible taste difference to say, oh no, it's not. It's got to be something different. I mean, you would never be able to tell that. But the fact that they're doing that and the fact that they're trying to do that, it makes me think that over time, there will be more of a presence of what it actually means to be Missouri corn, Missouri oak, Missouri mashed, and Missouri distilled and aged. So there you go. All right, Ben Holladay, bottled in bond, 6-year-old Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. All right, cheers.